we're starting off with Brock Lesnar, who made his return to WWE TV on this week's Raw and resumed his feud with Cody Rhodes. While Lesnar's return was a huge deal on Raw, it was believed by some that this was a change of plans, as many news outlets had reported that he'd be returning at Money in the Bank. That of course didn't happen, and when Ringside News asked around, they were told that there were never ever any plans for Brock's TV return to happen in London. Instead, the plan was always for Lesnar to return in Baltimore on the July 3rd episode of Raw, which sure enough is exactly what happened, and he will have a couple of appearances before SummerSlam. At the event, Lesnar will face Rhodes in some kind of stipulation match, which is being rumored to be a strap match, and who do you expect to see leave Detroit with the victory next month? As the largest professional wrestling company in the world, WWE has faced its fair share of legal problems over the years, and often have come out on top. Not even the federal government could put Vince McMahon behind bars during the steroid trial of the early 90s, but now, one of the company's top legal experts is leaving the company. As first reported by WrestleNomics, Jerry Mcdevitt will no longer be representing WWE in their legal battle with MLW, who alleged that WWE pressured a broadcast partner to end a deal with MLW. In a statement, Mcdevitt explained that he has been working towards retiring for some time now, but with the MLW trial expected to continue for a long time to come, he's decided now is the time to retire. Mcdevitt's departure brings to an end a 36-year career with WWE that began back in 1987, and it was Mcdevitt who fought on WWE's behalf over the years. Notable examples of Mcdevitt's work include representing WWE during the steroid trial, the Owen Hart wrongful death lawsuit, the aftermath of the Chris Benoit tragedy, numerous concussion-related lawsuits, as well as the purchase of both WCW and ECW in 2001. MLW were quick to respond to the news of the 73-year-old's retirement, tweeting that they've won their first retirement match, and WWE will now be represented in the lawsuit by Paul, Weiss, Rifkind, Wharton, and Garrison LLP. As to whether Mcdevitt stays retired, time will tell, as Vince McMahon has a way of getting people to work with him, but for now, WWE's top legal ace is ready to step away from the business and its legal issues. Next week, AEW will host their next Blood and Guts match in the TD Garden in Boston, and it's safe to say the show will be one to watch. The titular match has quickly become infamous for its violence, and that is expected to continue between the Blackpool Combat Club and the Elite, and a major non-AEW name could be getting in the mix for the show. Fightful Select reports that AEW has been in talks with international sensation Kota Ibushi, with the belief among talent that he will work the upcoming Blood and Guts show. Ibushi hasn't been as active on social media as he once was, and outside of a couple GCW matches in March of this year, hasn't competed regularly since October of 2021. The report adds that Ibushi's management has said that his schedule is expected to pick up in the near future, and fans may remember that it was during the GCW shows in March that he shared his plan to one day compete at an AEW event. AEW has a relationship with New Japan, a promotion Ibushi left after a series of issues with management, but with Kota saying these issues have been resolved, we may soon be seeing the massively talented star on AEW programming very soon. More from Blood and Guts, as with Jon Moxley competing at the event, it's all but guaranteed that the former AEW World Champion will be busted open during the festivities. Moxley's history of getting busted open has been so frequent, it's become something of a running joke with fans online, with many assuming he'll bleed whenever he steps in the ring. Speaking to Sports Illustrated this week, Moxley talked about his bleeding and defended what he did, stating there's potential for blood in every match. He explained, "This is a combat sport. College wrestling's a combat sport too. They have blood timeouts to patch it up. The lowest prelim bout of a UFC card or a boxing card, somebody might have a little blood on their eyebrow or blood coming out of their nose. If we're going to do something, let's f***ing do it. That can be detrimental when it comes to negative things like drugs or alcohol, but that's my mindset. If I'm doing it, I'm doing it. When it comes to blood, it's just going to happen." Moxley added that unlike college wrestling or UFC, pro wrestling has the ability to promote a match as a bloodfest, giving fans a reason to tune in, and something they won't see elsewhere. While many have taken exception to how frequently Moxley blades, believing it's lessened the impact, it's clearly worked wonders for the multi-time world champion, who doesn't plan on stopping anytime soon. But what do you think? Is there a place for blood in every wrestling match? Or does Moxley and some others take it way too far? Let us know in the comments. We've got some concerning news regarding former WWE wrestler Danny Inferno, who was recently arrested. PW Insider reports that the ex-WWE star has been charged with possession of a controlled substance without a prescription and was arrested and charged with driving under the influence. Danny Inferno worked in WWE sporadically from 1999 to 2005, with his debut match being against Test on Shotgun Saturday Night, while his final match would be on SmackDown via answering the Kurt Angle Invitational. Driving under the influence is very dangerous both for the driver as well as others on the road as well as pedestrians, and we'll keep following Inferno's case as updates become available in due time. It wasn't long after AEW began that the company signed up Colt Cabana, but when CM Punk arrived in 2021, Cabana's appearances on TV quickly dried up. Some speculated that Punk even caused his former best friend to vanish from TV, something Punk addressed in his infamous All Out rant, and there's been an update on Cabana. Fightful Select reports that Colt was around for work during this week's episode of Dynamite in Edmonton, in his first time backstage specifically for AEW work in some time. The last time fans saw Colt on AEW TV, it was in November, when he was a surprise challenger for then ROH World Champion Chris Jericho, and Cabana has been appearing for ROH TV. Cabana even unsuccessfully challenged Samoa Joe for a shot at the ROH World TV title, but it was unsuccessful in his efforts, and it's interesting that he was backstage at Dynamite, given that CM Punk is the top star on Collision. Cabana returned backstage at Dynamite as a producer and a coach, and has been largely absent since All Out, but with his decades of experience, Tony Khan would be wise to use Cabana both on and off screen. In recent years, there's been a big problem regarding scammers in wrestling, and those people who impersonate wrestlers online to con fans into giving up as much as thousands of dollars. When Seth Rollins was attacked by a fan on Raw in 2021, it was because they believed they had been conned by the real Rollins, but not every fake account is as convincing as the fake Seth. On the new platform Threads, an account claiming to be Zelina Vega has been trying to part fans from their hard-earned cash, but isn't doing a very good job. When a fan brought the scammer's account to the attention of the real Vega, she pointed out that this account claiming to be her can't even spell her name correctly, and questioned how anyone could fall for this account. Unfortunately, many people do fall for accounts like this, but hopefully this scammer's poor impersonation skills will help fans avoid falling for their fake account. And we're ending today with John Cena, a multi-millionaire who has made a fortune in wrestling and acting, but his start in WWE was hardly a big money deal. Speaking on Kevin Hart's Heart to Heart, Cena spoke about signing with WWE in 2000 and recalled quitting his day job the same day he signed. Cena then disclosed that his developmental deal was for $12,000 a year, a pittance considering the risks he'd be putting his body in. John's rent at the time was $1,000 a month, so his entire yearly income went to having a roof over his head, leading John to turn to family to help with other costs. Thankfully for John, things paid off, and he's now become one of the richest wrestlers of all time, but the man who recently spoke of WrestleMania in London had a very difficult first deal with WWE.